I guess this just shows you that anybody can win a national championship. If Michigan can do it, anybody can do it. No, but I did not expect them to be able to get through this. I don't think there wasn't a great team this year. Michigan was clearly, I guess, the best team because they won it all. But they've been built to win the Big Ten, and they beat Washington, which is a similar to Ohio State kind of team. So I think they got a pretty good draw this year, and you get an Alabama that doesn't have a quarterback that can throw. But yeah, they won a national championship. I saw it with my own eyes. Will they have it in 2 years? I don't know. There might be I might be going back and saying, I told you so when I said they couldn't win a national championship. When I said this, and again, when I said all of this, I did not realize how much cheating was going on. So that is also part of my defense. I did not understand the scope of the cheating in the Michigan program. So if I had known that, then clearly I'm going to say, yeah, Michigan has a chance to win a national championship. Like if I had known what they were doing, of course. You should win a national championship.
Had I known that they were breaking every rule in the book.
Yes. If I had known that, basically the fact that they only have one is damning.
Tony, you continue to be one of the funniest people I've ever met, along with our friend Mr. Noon here. You guys just, I don't even know how to. You have to be around these people in private, I guess, to fully appreciate.
It's not recommended. It's not recommended.
No, that's when the real blue language comes out, and I don't mean about the team up north. I just mean that's when the filter's off.
The good stuff. But yeah, this welcome to my world. When you walked right around the corner and then walked right through the front door on that one. That was pretty. Had I known that they were going to cheat to the level that they cheated, well, hell yes, I would have picked them.
Who wouldn't?
We've all underrated Michigan's ability to cheat.
Well, let's remember this, too, that Michigan still has not won a solo national championship since it's the 40s. They had to share one in the 90s, and they're going to have to share this one with the refs because they got away with a gross amount of holding and other things there. Will Johnson probably should be booked for the amount of assault that he put on people during that game.
They're going to have to share it with Rumpke too, because this trophy's going in the trash. So,
well, it's fitting that they did this in Houston, the home of the Trastros.
I mean, where does a vacated national championship trophy go? Back to Dallas so they can put the 2025 plate on top of it?
No, it goes into that box in the Michigan archives with the Fab Five banners and everything else.
Yep. It is interesting.
All right. I got my Michigan segment. Clip it. Got it.
You're welcome.
Here you go.
Perfect.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I've addressed all this a zillion times. I'm waiting for the final conclusion on this investigation, but we know that there was cheating. All right.
Can I also mention, sorry, not to get back to this, and I know we should just move on, but Dan Wetzel writing his column that he did about, they cheated, but this just goes to show you that they didn't need to. It's like, but they did. So just interesting to watch the hand waving about this.
I got the brake line and all the other cars entered in the Daytona 500, but I won the race, so it really doesn't matter. Only 6 drivers were seriously injured along the way. Michigan mouthpiece Dan Wetzel during this point. And I like Dan, but holy hell, he has been very one-sided in his opinions. And he's a columnist, so he's paid for opinions. Wrong ones count too.
Hey, Tony, Michigan Monday. How'd they play on Monday night? How'd that go? How'd they look? Jesus. You want to talk about I'll just say this, all kidding aside, you want a 3.5-hour video of somebody whipping somebody's ass. That was Michigan whipping Washington's ass. Joe Moore is doing bed spins wherever he's at right now, turning over. I mean, come on. Jesus criminy. And 300 yards rushing. I picked Washington to win the game, so I kind of had a vested interest. I didn't get wrapped up in this. I want Michigan to win for this reason. I want Washington to win for this reason. I really didn't get wrapped up in that. But on the first drive of the game, Michigan is getting 8 yards in 6 and 8 yard chunks. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. Now, I thought back to the Oregon-Ohio State National Championship game where Mariotto, I think, drove Oregon straight down the field and they scored a touchdown. And I was like, whoa, this could be bad. But then Ohio State, as Ohio State has done so many times, give up that first touchdown and then make so many great adjustments that you stop them. And, for about 2 quarters, Washington had it pretty well adjusted. And this thing was still kind of in the balance. But then you just, in the fourth quarter, they just took them to school. I mean, it was just, if you didn't care who won, you just said, man, that is the best team. So, credit to them, whatever. But, yeah, it kind of reassures your thought that the Big Ten way of playing football, supposedly running the ball and being opportunistic, throwing it and having an amazing defense. I mean, somebody made the comment, it looked like they were playing with 12 or 13 guys on the field. Because when you looked out there and you watched them lined up on defense, you're like, my God, where's Washington going to put this ball to expect to do anything with it? And they picked the right night to play their best game in many years. I'll say that.
Steve, that's what's so frustrating. Sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say, one, it was like Washington had never seen 22 personnel ever before, 2 backs, 2 sides. Second of all, I've not gone back and really rewatched the game because nobody wants to go back and watch a murder scene. But everybody talks about Penix having a really off night, which he did. But how many drops did Roma Oduzne and some of these other guys have? I mean, wide open shots. I mean, I could count at least 3 touchdowns that were left on the field for Washington. And
a lot of third downs. They dropped the ball on third down.
Honestly, I think, though, that Michigan probably could have turned it up from 10 to murder on the dial, and it would have been a little bit different. I think they slowed it down at some point. But, even at whatever point Sharon Moore decided to get away from the run, I would have probably have kept giving it to Donovan Edwards and have him do that same move of where he gets stopped, but nobody decides to really touch him, and then he just runs around everybody. But
run to contact, run to daylight.
Yeah, it really looked as if Washington prepared for somebody else. It was just a bad night all around, and the better team often makes a team like the opponent look kind of foolish. I'm not sure which one it is. I think both parts are in the equation, but Washington picked a bad night to lay an egg.
300 yards rushing. Nothing beats rock, as Kev likes to say. Nothing beats rock.
They showed how good they were, and I just feel bad for the players that this is going to stick with them. The fact that the cheating took place, and they're going to have this kind of stolen valor type of thing with their championship until it is removed, and then of course that's you've taken away that experience and that title from the players by doing what you've done. So it's unfortunate for the players.
Yeah, I've always thought, looking at these playoff results, that if there is a separation between 2 teams, that it is just magnified in the playoffs. And I think you can look through playoff history, and that happens a lot, where 2 teams, if they would have played in the regular season, you would get this result, and then the separation gets magnified. And I was pretty confident Michigan was going to win this game. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, although it was a 1-2 score game, 1-score game early in the fourth quarter. So Washington was hanging on by a thread. They had about 3 opportunities where they made a big play, up, holding penalty, boom, it gets called back. I think they were down a touchdown. They make the one big shot inside the 15 or 20-yard line. Talk about a drop. They had a 4th and 4 at midfield, down by a touchdown, where they get a first down. They're sitting there at the Michigan 40. Here we go. So they had their opportunities, but they were hanging on by a thread. But they had a couple windows where they could have done something. And I just think there's a difference between a complete team, and there's just so much responsibility on that left arm and those 3 wide receivers. They have to be on or forget it.
The times I saw them this year, they never dropped anything. They were making tough catches all season long. So I expected that to continue. and it didn't. Super chat from David Greenshield. Will Conor Stallions get a ring? I did see video of him getting a free bucket of beer at a bar as he is being celebrated as a Michigan hero. As it just, I don't know how much longer we need to keep talking about Michigan, but the way he is being celebrated and the acknowledged cheating that went on, it's just a very, very bizarre thing to watch this unfold in, I guess, sports rather than real life, and it's silly and bizarre and sad.
He not only gets a ring, he gets a full playoff share like they do in baseball. He gets voted a full playoff share. Even though he was only there for two-thirds of the season.
Why wouldn't Conor Stallions get a ring?
See, if I'm a Michigan fan and I truly believe that this team accomplished this with no help from him, I'm taking his bucket of beer and I'm dumping it right over his head, because I'm thinking you screwed us if I truly believe in my team and that they won this fair and square.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Conor Stallions. It was Ryan Day's brother. I think everybody knows that, Mark. You're not on the right web. You need to be on the dark web, the dark blue, maize and blue web, and you'll know the answers there.
We know that all of the bad people work at Catapult from Ohio State. I mean, that's, it's the upside down world or whatever it is from Stranger Things, which I might be the only person in America who really couldn't get into that show.
Well, I just say that, this was a week where Michigan obviously had the greatest moment in 75 years of that program, win the national championship and whatever comes of that, whatever. But I think from an Ohio State standpoint, you have to appreciate the response to what's happened against Missouri. And I'm not overly excited that they got rid of a great guy in Perry Eliano, because the sign inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center says it right there in big letters: you win with people. And if you can't win with a guy like Perry Eliano, then, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree or like that happened. I wonder if this is a case, and I'm going to screw up this name, Matt Ruggieri. Was he the guy, Tony, who was Knowles' right-hand guy at Duke and Oklahoma State, went to Indiana as the co-defensive coordinator? It's Matt Gurrieri. I'm sorry, I screwed up the name. He's out of work, obviously, with the Indiana coaching change. And if Knowles wants to he's a defensive backs coach by trade. If Knowles wants to bring him back and put him in that job, I can understand that. So that's a possibility. But beyond that one move, you have to love this response. The Alabama guy couldn't snap the ball last Monday, got death threats when they lost the game, and was an Ohio State player by Friday night. I mean, the world right now, the college football world is coming at you at the speed of light, faster than the speed of light. So that response alone, and people are like, is he going to be the center or the guard? I don't care. Got 2 years of starting experience at Alabama. He's going to be in the starting lineup, whether he replaces Carson Hinsman at center and Carson Hinsman goes and plays guard, or they decide this spring that Carson Hinsman is the center and McLaughlin's going to play guard. It doesn't matter. They got a guy who is a dude who can play. No question about it. Love that response. And then obviously Devin Sanchez, Quinshon Judkins, you got to like the potential there. And more changes to come on the coaching staff, you figure. I like the response. So I just wanted to get that 2 cents in there that, this was Michigan's week, but Ohio State and Ryan Day, given everything that's happened in the last 6 weeks, haven't been sitting idly by. They've been managing the offseason the best way that they could. And I think you got to be, Will Howard as well. You got to be happy with the direction that things are headed. As far as me, Ohio State, Wisconsin tonight, it's kind of a put up or shut up game for Ohio State at this point. There aren't any real opportunities to play ranked teams in the Big Ten because it's such a mediocre 500 conference. And there's only 3 more games against ranked teams after this. They've only played 2 ranked teams prior to this. So you got to win this game. Coming off a terrible loss at Indiana, you got to win this game tonight if you're expected to be considered legit. So we'll know more about this team in about Oh, the stupid game's at 8:30 tonight. So about 10:30 tonight, we'll know where they stand.